Hello viewers, this is your host Mahnoor Gohar and you're watching Park News English. For decades, the rivalry between the great powers US and China is going on, but now it has turned towards Taiwan once again. For decades, Beijing has its sights on Taiwan, the self-governing island that China claims as its own. It has built up the People's Liberation Army with the goal of ultimately taking Taiwan if efforts to unify peacefully fail. It has modernized its forces, developing the world's largest navy, which now challenging American supremacy in the seas around Taiwan. China is owning its ability to blockade the Taiwan, giving Beijing the option of cutting off the self-ruled island in its campaign to take control of it. Taiwan's geography leaves it vulnerable to blockade. Its population, industry, and ports are concentrated on its western flank, closest to China. China could also impose a blockade by sending ships and submarines to prevent vessels from entering or leaving Taiwan's port. It could use warplanes and missiles to dominate the skies. Even a limited blockade would threaten one of the world's busiest trade routes. Much of the shipping traffic in the Taiwan Strait goes to the port of Kaohsiung and Taichung on the island's west. Therefore, China's military exercises this month were not a blockade, they were meant to intimidate Taiwan and the United States. They also showed how China is trying to normalize its presence in areas near Taiwan, raising the risk of conflict. While China likely still lacks the ability to quickly invade and seize Taiwan, it could try to impose a blockade to force the island into concessions or as a precursor to wider military action. In this scenario, China would attempt to subdue Taiwan by choking it and its 23 million people in a ring of ships and aircraft, cutting it off physically, economically, and even digitally. China tried to use its military exercises this month to signal confidence in the People's Liberation Army's ability to encircle Taiwan. The exercises were not a full-scale rehearsal. In a real blockade, the 11 missiles that China fired into seas around Taiwan would have served little military purpose because they were designed to strike land targets, not ships. China did not roll out its most advanced weaponry. It flew planes near Taiwan, not over it. An actual blockade would involve hundreds more ships and aircraft, as well as submarines trying to seal off Taiwan's ports and airports and repel possible intervention by warships and planes, sent by especially the United States and its allies. In a blockade, China would also need to control the skies. China has an array of naval and air bases on its east coast opposite Taiwan and many more up and down its coast. China could impose a limited blockade by stopping and screening ships without attacking Taiwan's port. Given Taiwan's dependence on imports of fuel and food, even a temporary blockade could shock the island politically and economically, allowing China a forceful way to press its demands. In that scenario specifically, China could use a blockade to support an attempt of a full invasion. That step could unleash a potentially protracted and devastating conflict, as well as a major international backlash against China that would bring it economic damage and political isolation. The uncertainties of the outcome from any war at sea in the air would be immense for all involved. China sees information as a key battleground. If we talk about the information as a key battleground for China, in a real conflict to seize Taiwan, China would also seek to control the information landscape. It could use propaganda, disinformation, cyber warfare, and other tools in the hope of drumming up support at home and sowing fear and discord in Taiwan and across the world. During the recent exercises, the People's Liberation Army put out a torrent of videos, pictures, and reports that blurred the line between propaganda and misinformation. The campaign included footage of jet fighters taking off, missiles fired, warships on patrol, and hospital trained ferrying troops, all intended to show force ready for combat. But it also appeared to exaggerate Chinese capabilities by depicting its forces as bigger and closer to Taiwan than they were in reality. If you talk about the Pelosi's visit to Taiwan, the island experienced sporadic, unsophisticated cyber attacks of unclear origin, creating more nuisance than disruptions. At least 4 Taiwanese government websites endured brief cyber attacks. Hackers took over electronical displays at several 7-Eleven stores at the Shijiazhuang train station in Kaohsiung to display message condemning Ms. Pelosi in an actual conflict. China could also try to sever or disable undersea cables that carry about 90% of that data and connects Taiwan to the world. That's all for today. Let's see that where this conflict go. We'll be back with such content tomorrow. Until then, stay tuned. Thank you.